Well, hello everyone. This is Crypto Orange, and this is my crypto journey. My intention is not to have this go on too long. I need to go back to 2016, and I'm just going to touch upon everything I've been in, which has been a lot. I'm not going to go into crazy detail, but I assure you there's a design and purpose to all of this. So, here I go. When did I learn about Bitcoin? It was November 2016. I watched a couple documentaries on Hulu. One was Banking on Bitcoin, the documentary, and then also the Deep Web that featured Ross Albright. And I was really fascinated by the fact that there was actually digital currency and that people were actually using it on the internet to buy things between each other. Um, so I opened up a Coinbase wallet, and I think the Bitcoin price is probably at about $750. I can't remember. I'm sure you probably could buy Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, and I can't remember if there are any other coins other than that. I looked at the price of Bitcoin, and I didn't realize you can just buy a fraction of it. So I thought you had to buy a whole Bitcoin. And I said to myself, what in the hell am I going to do with a digital currency? Where am I going to put it? I mean, I didn't even go that next step. I was still fascinated by it, but I kind of just left it there. I didn't look into what it was all about. I, of course, at that point didn't understand blockchain, and I just forgot about it. So, of course, Bitcoin starts getting into the news in late 2017. Um, I had some friends tell me about this Bitcoin that was getting over $15,000, and then I certainly remembered that I'd actually opened up a Coinbase wallet and that I kind of knew a little bit about it. And of course, I had to go a little further. So that's, of course, that piqued my interest. So I just started going on YouTube and watching videos about it. Um, and it wasn't until I watched Don Tascott's video about blockchain that I really understood. And that was the moment when the light went off in my head. And I think anybody who's been in crypto has it had the same moment, where the kind of light goes off, and then you finally understand that this is something really big. It's something that's going to be around for a long time, and then it will change really everything that we're going to do as far as transactions with each other. Not only digital currency, of course. So um, I also watched a lot of videos with Caitlin Long, who I think is fabulous. I still go back and watch her videos when I get a little discouraged in the space, and she seems to ground me as to why I got into it. Um, she's a great leader in this space, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for her. So there you go, my nod to Caitlin. Um, the first token, the first coins I bought then in so that would be February 2018, were Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. So Bitcoin was about $8,300, Ethereum was about $850, Litecoin about $150, and I think I just bought a little bit of each. I didn't spend a lot of money. I just wanted to get my feet wet with it, and I of course then learned about storing it. I bought myself a Trezor, and I just had a little bit of cryptocurrency. Um, I got a little more involved locally. I actually started up one of the first meetup groups in in my in my state, um, and I got a few people that came at the beginning, and then it slowly died off. So you got to remember at this time, Bitcoin's price was just coming right down. There was a lot of people who bought in that were leaving. Um, so I only know of a down market. I don't, I was not there for the 2017 run up. I love hearing stories about it. I love hearing what people, people who bought it when I first learned about it and what they did and didn't do and so forth. Um, but I just, I had the meetup group. Um, there were people, of course, like I said, came in, just a few. And then there was long stretches of times I did it weekly, and at one point in time, it was just me, kind of me there, with my little tabletop meetup thing. I did it in a local pub, and kind of just sat there and had a little dinner, and most of the time nobody showed up. So I did that for about 5-6 months, and then I stopped doing that. Um, but I just got very involved in learning about it. And I started, of course, branching out other than, the mainstays, the Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. I got into a project called Social Wallet. If anybody remembers that, it's now Airwire. Um, I would listen to the Bad Crypto podcasts faithfully, um, just, driving home from work. It was just one of those mainstays, and I just learned about a lot of different projects that were coming out. And this one particular time, that one of the founders of Social Wallet came on and started talking about it, and I was just very intrigued. So I started learning about it. That was during the ICO craze, of course, at that time. Um, I remember I started buying tokens. I think I had to send some Litecoin. I guess you could buy Litecoin, Bitcoin. At any rate, I was starting to accumulate. I think the price was about 15 cents at that point. And they hadn't even started the masternode, you know, um, their masternodes. That was something that came down the pike. So I just started, accumulating tokens. I started getting into Discord. I'd never been on a Discord. I'm not a gamer, so the whole Discord thing was completely new to me. But it was great. It was just a great little community. There weren't more than 100 or so people, if that, at the very beginning. Um, so we were just this small, tight knit group that, of course, we would uh, talk to each other and so forth about, the token, the upcoming masternode. So that community started building. Then the masternodes came, and that was fascinating. So I'm from the healthcare field, so I knew nothing of any of this. I'm as far as from IT as you could possibly get. So I remember setting up my first masternode, downloading the 25 page document on how to start the masternode, and then spending literally hours and hours trying to set that up on my own. I had nobody. I mean, I could ask some questions, but of course nobody's there, you know, walking you through it. You just had to do it. You just had to get in there and do it. I remember struggling with putty, and if anybody remembers the old days of masternodes, I just could not understand that whole process, and that really hung me up. So my first masternode took me about 8 hours to set up. But once I set it up, that sense of accomplishment was tremendous. I still remember to this day. I think it was a Sunday, and I just spent all day, and I finally got it running. And it was a great feeling. Um, and that was my first introduction to a real community. And that's kind of a common thread in all this that you'll eventually see. This video is really intended just to talk about my journey. Although it's a wrecked journey, it does have a silver lining. I am as enamored with the space as I was in the beginning, but I won't tell you what I won't tell you right now where my home is. I'll wait for another video, but just suffice it to say, it's a good place. So from there, Social Wallet turned into Airwire. Um, And of course, like any new project, there were a lot of problems, particularly with the wallet. Um, it was constantly having trouble. Different versions had to be made. There were a lot of great people in that community. That project is still going. I know I have a couple of good friends who are still hanging in there. My good friend Marsh, shout out to him, who helped me many times. He got me out of, uh, you know, some situations as far as my masternodes go, and he was just tremendous. Um, so, unfortunately, when the token hit the market, the price just tanked. All of us had paid 15 cents, and even though we had a couple of months to mine, to basically our masternodes had been running, and we all were getting tokens for a good 2 or 3 months before it hit the market. That that big drop when it first hit the market was just devastating. Um, it I think it went as high as 12 cents, and then it settled down to about 6 or 7 cents, and it stayed there for a good while until it just continually dropped. It was, it was the end of that ICO boom, and it's unfortunate that project was released in the real thick of the bear market, because um, I think it has a lot of potential. There are supposedly some patents that, as far as I know, haven't been approved as of yet. But that was the big draw, that they had some patents, that they were going to be able to send digital currency over social media platforms, and that was the whole idea behind Social Wallet and Airwire. Um, so at any rate, there's Airwire. So from Airwire, I just got into other communities. I got into a couple of bad ones. I was such a noob. Um, I didn't quite understand um, what trading was, and there was this new phenomenon of arbitrage um, that I got very involved in, um, and that seemed to be the new up and coming thing, the hottest thing. There were communities that were being built around these tokens. One in particular, of course, and everybody who has been in this space for a little while will remember, it's arbitrage.io, which turned out to be a scam, of course, at the very end. There was, I don't know, my thoughts are there was some arbitrage going on early on. But I think what happened was people just started funneling money into that project, and they just became stewards of, moving money from wallet, different wallets and so forth. I mean, the percentage gains that people were getting at the beginning were just crazy, and you would have thought that a lot of us would have realized that, but you get knee deep in it, and you're getting these crazy amounts of cryptocurrency daily. You get a little you start not looking too deeply, right? You kind of just you're in it, and it's a little euphoric, and you just go with it. um, that had a very interesting community. There were a lot of YouTubers a part of Arbitrage. You don't see them anymore, of course. That project got really, really bad. Um, but at the beginning, it was a lot of fun. I remember watching Crypto Austin. I tried never to miss his show and his rants and his humor. I hope he's doing all right. If Austin, if you're watching this, um, hello, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Um, I don't have any, um, I don't hold any uh, bad feelings, or, it's kind of but for anything that I've, that I talk about that I've been in that has turned really bad, it's just been a learning experience, and it's got me to the place I am today, and I'm very happy where I'm at. I'll be in crypto almost 3 years come this February, and so I've got a lot of, I've learned a lot, I've got a lot of experience. Like I said, I'm still enamored with the space. So that arbitrage community, it was like a soap. A soap opera. It was just daily. There was just you couldn't write it. You couldn't write or make any of that up. It was just it was wild. It was really wild. I also got into NovaChain, and that had been running for about well over a year. I remember getting in. I didn't get too deep at the beginning. It took me about 7 months, but I did get my ROI. And then, unfortunately, towards the end, they, I think they realized that they couldn't continue paying the percentages that they were paying, and so they decided with these. I forgot what the heck name of the coin. It was a name of the Nova coin, and I can't remember what it was, but they were gonna start letting people, I don't know, use it. They also had these things set up for like 15, 30, 90 days where you lock up your Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and then you would get, after course of the 15 days, you'd get your Bitcoin back with a little extra. So they did what was really probably a brilliant exit scam, if you can say brilliant. But what they did was, after the 15-day, not after the 15-day, right before the 30-day, they exit scam. So they got everybody to come in. They paid out the 15-day, and then everybody, of course, went back in, and myself included. And because I figured, God, this is gonna go on. I mean, they were going for well over a year and a half. And I said, well, what's another 30 days? That's easy. I'll be able to get out of this. Nope. Nope. Yep, they skedaddled. And that's probably, and so I wasn't a part of BitConnect, so I know, I hear of people who were in that, and that, of course, was the granddaddy of them all. But NovaChain was, Arbitrage and NovaChain were right up there. And I think NovaChain, it was just a little more malicious. Let's put it that way. I don't know how else to put it. But those were tough learning lessons to be a part of that. And I finally understood what arbitrage was, and that you can't do it on a scale like that, of course. I mean, the whole concept itself, it's a great idea, but to execute it is extremely difficult. So those are my sad stories. Those are my toughest lessons of the space. I got into shared masternodes after that, and there were a lot of pretty decent services. I was in one called Snowed.io, and I did a few coins. I would you would send. There were various. I mean, there were of various amounts. There were some masternodes that were thousands of dollars. There were some masternodes with just a few hundred. You didn't have to buy a whole didn't have to buy all the coins for one masternode. You didn't have to set it up, which was beautiful. Because with my experience with Airwire and having to deal with those masternodes, they were just a lot of, very time intensive. So the fact that you could just send your cryptocurrency, they would do the masternode. You could just do a part of a masternode, and they would just send you a percentage. They would take a 2 or 3%, whatever. So that actually worked out, very well. I didn't do great with it. Because of course, those tokens, none of them had a use case. They were just digital currencies, and people, all they did was trade them. That was it. That's all you did with them. You had them in your wallet. You traded them, and hopefully you could flip one and make a little bet. Um, so that was an interesting endeavor. Um, let's see. Okay, then then I got into trading, and I spent a fair amount of time in the trading world. I have since given up and hung up my trading hat, but I was pretty knee deep in it, even at the beginning. I mean, in the space it's almost hard unless you just kind of just put your Bitcoin in a Trezor. It's almost hard to avoid if you want to kind of be involved in the space. You start getting very in tune with the price fluctuations. Um, I watched all the trading YouTubers. I still have my favorites. I still love watching Crypto Kirby. Who else? There'll be others. I just can't think of the top of my head. But there's a lot of traders that I still like to watch. Some of them have good insight into the market. But it's hard to avoid if like me. I my whole goal is I just wanted to touch almost every aspect of the space. If there was something new, I was going to try it. I that was my thing. I just wanted to experience it. I loved it. Um, so I got into trading, and it is so hard to trade. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, just to it's not just a simple, buying the top. I mean, yeah. Well, selling high, buying low. Let's put it that way. You know what I'm talking about. Um, I never got deep into charting. I was never really that good. Um, and learning support and resistances. That really is kind of the name of the game. Um, and I think there's very few people who really get a good feel for that. Um, I do feel that it's an unfortunate um, it's unfortunate that um, the exchanges make it really difficult for you to get an edge. Um, the fees are incredible. And then you've got these algo bots that you are essentially trading with. If it was just other human beings, you might have a fighting chance. But you've got these bots that are just seeking out your stop losses, um, and they will find you. They find you, um, and so it's a real hard game. I did get to a trading group. I was in Crypto Faces Market Cipher. Um, that is a great community. I still have a few people I talk to now and again. That's a really tight ship over there. They have some really great moderators in their Discord. I did get the indicator, um, but I did find it sometimes difficult. I think sometimes a lot of times for me it confused me more than anything, because shifting from different time frames. Of course, the charts look completely different when you go to a small time frame than back to go to a larger time frame. And for me, the indicators I think sometimes made it a little more difficult for me. So I never. It was just one of those things. It wasn't like I was a duck to water to that. I would have. It was like explaining it to people. It's like one step forward, two steps back. Now there are some very successful traders, people who just understand it. They don't even need an indicator because they have a good sense of the market. They know where support and resistance is. Um, God bless them. But they're few and far between. But so I had to just say, you know what, this just some things you're just not good at. and I'm not good at trading, and I just was tired of losing money, and it just had to stop. So um, I also got into mining. So up until recently, I had been mining Ethereum Classic until I dropped my PC. Fell off the counter. Now I can't get it going. And now the ETH gas prices are way up there. I wish, I probably need to get that puppy fixed and kind of refire it. Um, but that's pretty good. Mining's pretty good. You can't, just as a solo miner. Um, I never made too much. I mean, if I made $50, $60 in a year from mining Ethereum Classic, I was lucky. But it was one of those things that I wanted to do it. I like being a part of it, and like I said, that's always been a common thread. I found the same good community with Crypto Faces community there in Discord. It was akin to what I had experienced in Airwire, and I think I enjoyed that more than the trading itself. Just a lot of good, smart people in that group, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the market, and then you hear about different things. Of course, people are talking. You hear about different projects. Um, I'm also, let's see, I'm also involved in Telegram. I follow a lot of different projects, and just enjoy talking to people. It's like an alternate universe. So I explained it to the real world, my real world. When they ask about it, I said, it's a whole different world. It's like this alternate universe is kind of running parallel to the real world, and it's kind of a nice place to go to, particularly with everything going on today. So, but I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I didn't want to make this a shill video. I didn't want to, like, at the very end of this, say, "Oh, by the way, guess what I'm into." I'm not going to do that to anybody, because I would not want that done to me. So I'm going to kind of just leave it at there. So I know I made a few mistakes in this video. I'm just going to call it a print. And I'm just going to leave it here. So if you follow me in my next video, you'll see where I ended up and where I am today. And like I said, there is a design and purpose to all this, just like there is in life. So anybody who's new to crypto, my words of advice are, be really careful. You have to be really careful. There are a lot of bad players in this space, and their only intention is to part you with your crypto. And so you got to be really careful. Um, Listen to more authority type figures in the space, people at the level of Caitlin Long. I would highly suggest you follow her and watch some of her videos. You kind of get an idea of the vision of blockchain and where it's going and so forth. There are other people in this space, and you'll find them. You'll know who they are, and those are the people you want to listen to. Of course, you want to make sure you always keep your cryptocurrency off the computer. Don't keep your cryptocurrency on an online wallet. If you have it on an online wallet, just make sure it's not on there too long. And get yourself a hardware wallet like a Trezor or a Ledger, and just make sure that your funds are safe. It's a great space. Like I said, if you're new and you're just coming in, it's a whole new world. You're going to learn a lot, and the space has changed so much from the time I got into it, and I consider myself very new. I know people who have been there from back, 2013, 14, so on and so forth. People who are mining Bitcoin on their laptops, which I find fascinating. I love hearing about those stories. Um, so, at any rate, well, I will leave you there. Again, my name is Crypto Orange, and this was my crypto journey. Peace.